what do we do at Western Farm I'm most pleased about or proud of? Well, it's probably not one single thing, but a number of different elements. Here, this is what we call a fir park. Nobody knows its history, but it's a 100-acre park with a number of fairly ancient Scots pines scattered about amongst it. And because they're decaying and aging, we've undertaken to plant quite a lot, scattered around this 100 acres of new Scots pines. You can maybe see one of the caged ones behind me. That's just one element of this particular farm, and it's making the best of what we have here. The other element back through there is the cows that we breed. The short hog cows that are bred for 30 years here have been bred to fit with the farm. They've been bred to suit the environment rather than the other way around, rather than forcing something into the environment. So they're part of the life, if you like, the biodiversity of the farm. But perhaps the most important overarching element of what we do here is sort of defined by the organic farming system we use, which has encouraged us, or we've encouraged to treat the farm as an ecosystem. So that's the sort of umbrella on which all these little different elements work, so that we're in control of all the outputs, the inputs, the cycles within the farm. So this is the fir park, those are the cows, and we'll go and see something else. Well, we might not know the full history of the fir park and why there were these specimen Scots pines scattered around this grazing area, but we do know something of the history here. The house away back over there has a date on the back of 1762, which was probably when it was a single-story building, and I'm standing now on the edge of a henge, probably of a similar vintage as Stonehenge, although somewhat less grand. So we're just a small part of a very long history of land management here at the foot of the Pentland Hills. And so the future, what we do now, in preserving the status of the soil and the landscape is crucial, particularly in the time of threats of climate change and a biodiversity crisis. So here we have more examples of the diversity of this particular farm. Away back down there behind me there's a lowland raised bog, crucial in terms of biodiversity and indeed peatland management, carbon retention. Further over there and to one side of that, we've done a lot of work with the Clyde Valley Wader Initiative, where we're working cooperatively with a lot of other farmers in this area and the upper Clyde Valley to try and create an environment suitable to try and encourage waders of all kinds, particularly curlews, that's a particularly interesting story this year, but that's for another time. And we're trying to do that alongside a viable farming enterprise. So next to this henge, in the same field, we have 25 acres, which is of essentially a red clover mix. So we're trying to fix our nitrogen from the atmosphere rather than buy it in a bag and throw it on the ground to be leached out, or potentially some of it. So this is the sort of balance that we're trying to strike. And behind me, behind these cows, we have over there a meadow that we've just reseeded and are trying to create a species-rich grassland. And this is a repeat of another one behind the bull there, over there, a bonkers field, a field that was 7 to 10 years ago reseeded with a species-rich mix, and is now just a mass of rattle, plantain, sorrel, crested dog's tail, you name it, invertebrates galore, a riot of colour, and it makes damn good sheep hay as well. And behind that, further on up the hill, productive silage pastures. So this is the mix we're trying to create. But in order to be able to do that, farmers like myself, we need support. It costs time, it's labour, it's long term. It's the long term future. The Medwin Valley here depends on policy commitment. So there are, I suppose, 1 or 2 points I would make. One, that every farm is different. Every farm has its individual features. There are commonalities throughout that, but farmers must be enabled and encouraged to make the best of what they have, and they must be given the support to have an ecologically and economically sustainable food production as part of and incorporated within the wider landscape and nature on that farm.